Hey baby, tell me what's your name. From the way you look and the way you dress, I can tell you ain't got no shame, and that's alright. I'm just a man. Say you're from the city where it all moves so fast. With your fancy cars and your diamond rings, you don't need a love to last, and that's alright. I'm just a man, yeah, yeah. So take me home tonight, like you know that you should. When you're ready to get yourself, let's get there. Get it to me good. 1, 2, 3, 4. Me, I'm just a rocker. Ain't got much to say. Never did things by the rules, always did things my own way, and it's alright. That's the way I am. Anyway, my father was a teacher, taught me how to live. Said, son, you gotta be someone, not taking more than you give, and it's alright. That's the way I am. Anyway, so take me home tonight. You know that you should. When you're ready to get just get it to me good. Give it to me good. Give it to me good. Give it to me good. You're doing so come on.
Muted. There it is. How's that better? I guess I'm up now. Thank you to everybody. Again, another edition of the Hard Rocket Sports Show, live from high atop Hard Rocket Sports Studios in beautiful Scenic Road, New Jersey. We are your 3-hour weekly get together. We bring you all the biggest news from around the world of hard rock, heavy metal, and of course the wide world of sports. And thank you guys. Welcome to Thursday night, the first Thursday in January, and I'm happy and sad. The official ending of the holiday season is upon us. Trees coming down, all that, all the decorations going away, and we got to wait a whole another year for it to come around again. But lots to talk about this week. We got football coming out of the ass. We got plenty of sports and music to get to. We got a great guest coming on board. Our good friend Mark Scott, trickster drummer, amongst other things. Mark's a big entrepreneur, and Mark will be popping up to talk about his latest American vodka. So we're looking forward to talking to Mark about American vodka. And I'm getting ready to talk to my partner, Mr. Jeff Towinski. And again, guys, thank you for tuning in to Thursday night. So let's get Jeff on and start the show.
What are you doing? I'm having
just getting the show kicked off, my brother. How are you?
I'm trying to get everything charged. I forgot to plug the computer in.
Oh, you didn't charge? You didn't plug your computer in?
No, I'm plugging in. Now we're good.
Now we're good.
What's going on?
No, just doing our thing and looking forward to a Thursday night, spending some time with you as always, my brother.
Oh, that's very nice. Thank you.
Okay, I sent you see the message. You can hear me now? I'm assuming.
Yeah. Now
Okay.
I can. Yeah. Before
Yeah, it's a little bit of technical difficulties before the show, but as usual. But we're here. It's Thursday night. I know you've been busy this week. You've been back to work, even though you're still on vacation.
Yeah, unfortunately, and I got to go to work in a few hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they panic when it snows.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You know what? We can cut it short tonight if you need to.
We'll see how it goes. I didn't sleep or anything. I've been up since 4:30, so this is going to be fun.
You're right. My wheelhouse, my friend. I was up 4:20 this morning, so I know how you feel. So,
yeah, but you're going to go to bed after this, right?
I am going to bed. Yes, pretty soon right after this. So yeah,
I'll go to bed sometime tomorrow.
We could have postponed the show. We could have postponed it.
No way.
All right. Well, let's while you got the energy, let's kick off the show and have some fun. But Jeff, let's start with the usual. Jeff, how was your week?
Well, it sucked because everybody at my job has COVID.
Okay.
So I had to go in to cover because there was nobody there.
Right.
Then, of course, there's snowstorm and
yep.
Everybody's problems are the most important problems in the world. And
except for yours.
They'll come up to me with them, because of where we work and what I'm doing. So it's been a rough week.
All right. Well, listen, maybe we're gonna have a couple hours or an hour and change, whatever your will is. Tonight we'll have some fun with the show. We'll run through some quick stuff tonight, so that way we try to get everything in. We do have a few minutes with our friend Mark Scott, who's going to come on and talk about his new vodka. But I got a couple big things I got to talk to you about. First, Jeff, we've broken records around the world. We've officially beat 8% in Israel. We're at 8.04%. So our good friends in Israel have finally gotten us to 8%.
They're catching on, man. I'm
telling you, we're big. We're big in Israel right now. So if everybody's not looking, we're taking over. We've managed to infiltrate Israel.
Thank you, Moji.
Moishi and the boys are listening. Somewhere in Israel, there's a little bit.
I would love to know exactly what's going on over there.
Well, I'm imagining there's a little deli or a little coffee shop someplace in the heart of Israel, and there's a bunch of guys sitting in a room, and over the loudspeaker of this thing, they're talking about all sorts of things, and in the background is Jeff and Tom and the Hard Rock and Sports Show. That's what I'm imagining, Jeff.
Well, that would be nice, but it would be nice if you were actually paying attention.
Well, listen,
not just have us on as background because it's in between stations and the radio is blocked and they can't get to it to change the station. You know what I mean?
Very true. Could possibly be that, or maybe that's just tuned into our little show. But either way, we're happy to have. We finally cracked. We've been up, we've been down, 7.9, 7 point, whatever.
Say what you want, but 8% of the audience is coming from Israel. Somebody actually has to be listening to this.
It is true.
I would really love it if whoever it is contacts us somehow, some way, and lets us know just who are you and why. Why?
Which is probably the bigger question.
Yeah.
Why are you listening to us?
The fuck is wrong with you that you actually listening to this, man?
It's very true.
What you want to do is be your friend, man.
That's it. So we've got we've got some ratings in Japan for the first time. We got like just under 2% of our listeners are in Japan, which is something new for us. So we are bouncing around the world.
Definitely people that live by the Fukushima or whatever the fuck it is.
The nuclear plant.
Nuclear plant that's still leaking, I believe.
Well, either way, we are thankful that people around the world are listening to the Hard Rock and Sports Show. So
we are taking over, man.
Whether whoever it is, we're thankful that they're out there doing that. We got some guests. We got Mark Scott tonight talking about his new vodka. Next week, Ross the Boss comes back. He's one of our more frequent guests. Beside the music end, we'll talk a little bit Giant football and Met baseball with Ross. He's always been a fun guest for us. So thanks to Nick Marino for setting up the Ross the Boss interview. I think, Jeff, what's your thoughts on doing the Super Bowl trivia contest again this year?
Yeah, of course.
I think we had a lot of fun with that last year. Maybe we'll try to get a new crop of players. I'll have to put it out there, and maybe we can get a few, 4 or 5 new players, and I'll have to come up with new prizes. I'm not doing the T-shirt thing again this year. Maybe mugs, or we'll do something that I can get him made up and get in quick.
We're going to have to see who it is, though, because you don't want to make it too easy.
Well, last year I thought well, one person actually lost, and we gave them a consolation prize, or we gave them an extra question. It was I did scour, and we did come up with some interesting questions. So maybe this year we combine efforts, and we'll both come up with some Super Bowl trivia facts, and try to come up with easy to hard, and give 4 questions, and they got to get all 4 right to earn the prize.
Well, if a certain person is asked to be on the show, that show,
yep,
they must appear in full outfit.
I would agree with that. If he's going to, well, he was part of last year's panel, which we tried to do a different one. But if he would have promised to wear these tracksuit and helmet, we'd have to let him on to do a Super Bowl trivia, I would say.
Wait, I have more.
You have more?
Oh, I have plenty more.
Oh.
Yeah. Not only would he have to wear the tracksuit and helmet.
Yes.
We would have to do his segment later on in the show.
Why is that? Oh, you want every chance to be as fully inebriated?
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a fucking doubt. And we'd have to either have his woman could either hold the phone.
Oof.
So that she could get a whole body shot of him.
Okay.
He has to be full screen. He can't be like we are right now, sitting down someplace.
I would agree with that. He'd have to be
see the whole package.
Yeah, you'd have to see the whole. You can't think it'd be too hard to get him in the screenshot. He's not overly.
He's not the biggest mass of humanity, is he?
Yeah, so I would think it'd be kind of easy to get that whole picture.
Yeah.
So it'd be kind of like.
Also.
It'd be kind of like trying to get this in the screen. You know what I mean?
Oh God. I would have to say. He may have to get in the 3-point stance.
Now that would be interesting. We'll have to get him doing maybe football stances, 4-point, 3-point.
I would give him. I would say we would give him a prize for every stance, everything he does.
He has to do the Heisman stance. That's the one he's got to do. We've got to get him in a Heisman pose, and then create. Wait, if he does the Heisman pose with the outfit, I will make up a bobblehead for each one of us out of that pose.
Oh man!
Could you imagine on your desk a Dominic Cinta Heisman Trophy pose?
The bobblehead.
Yes. Could you imagine that on your desk?
No,
staring at you for each show?
I couldn't. It's.
I just
don't know what to say there.
That will be the official mascot of the Hard Rocket Sports Show.
Yeah.
Will be featured in every ad. That would be it. So we got to announce a new segment starting next week. Jeff's putting together a brand new segment. Do you want to do the announcement yourself?
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to focus out, I think, for a second, man. It's been a long week. We're going to focus on a different sports star every week, and just give a rundown on what that person's done and how he's contributed to his sport, and how he compares amongst the greats, and the usual shit. But we want to elaborate a little bit more and kind of go after whoever strikes it. Maybe this week it's going to be Al Unser or Cal Yarborough. Maybe next week it'll be Tiger Woods or Mark Messier or something like that. We don't know, and we just want to just go through these people and give them a few minutes every week.
Sounds like a fun thing. Yeah, sounds like a fun thing. We'll bring some people on. We'll give them their story, what they're up to, what they did, and we can go through different aspects and maybe argue their greatness or their place in sports history. So I think it's a nice, fun segment. So Jeff came up. We'll kick that off next week. We might get a little participation from our friend John Marhefka. Might pop in on some of those himself.
Is he watching us now?
I can't answer that.
Why
John watches frequently. I don't know if at this moment he's exactly watching. No, can't answer that.
Okay. All right. You don't see him there?
Again, he would have to pop up on the thing. Otherwise, unless he's in the queue and kind of says hello. So other than that, I don't know exactly who's watching until they pop up and say hello to us.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I got to say, if he's there, I hope he pops in and everything. But he posted something about Mike Tomlin.
Okay.
This guy, God forbid these two people ever meet in the same place. Mr. Tomlin may be in a lot of trouble.
Yes, I think John might actually attack him.
It very well may. And I
Yes.
just don't understand it. What is it you want from this man? I just don't understand it.
You know what it is, Jeff? Let's be honest. I love John, but he's spoiled. You know, you went from Chuck Noll had a couple bad years at the end to Bill Cowher, who basically had a great run for 15 years. And now Mike Tomlin, who's had another great run for 12 or 15 years. Very few losing seasons.
No losing season. First of all, Mike Tomlin has not had a losing season.
Okay. 500 is the worst season he's had, I believe.
Yeah.
So, but when you're used to all of those great seasons and then you have a couple of down years where you're fighting for the playoffs and stuff, I guess you get, he should be in our shoes a little bit. I mean, I got 10 years of 10
12 and 4 is not a down season.
No, absolutely not. I agree with you. So, but, listen, every fan base is fickle. What have you done for me today? When's the last time you won me a Super Bowl win? When did you take me deep into the playoffs? So, John's not the biggest Mike Tomlin fan. We've come to learn that in our thread.
Yeah, I just cannot understand the hatred he has when the guy is done.
Yeah,
so much for that team.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if the Jets called Mike Pittsburgh right now and said that they would trade this year's number one and next year's number one, okay, and Zach Wilson for the rights to Mike Tomlin, I would say it's a coup.
Yeah.
And I'd be more than happy with it.
Listen, I get it. Listen, there's a lot of ways we can look at it. I'm sure there's a lot of teams out there right now, Jeff, that would celebrate and run and pick him up and carry him to their stadium if Mike Tomlin was available to be their head coach.
Without a doubt.
So again, people get fickle over things, and if you're from Pittsburgh, you're used to certain amount of winning, and you haven't seen a Super Bowl since 12. I think 2012. I think 2009. I think was the last Super Bowl, Pittsburgh and the Cardinals. So that's even before the Giants. But they've had success. They've had playoff victories and all of that. So I wouldn't say they've had a downturn. They just haven't won a Super Bowl. And a lot of teams haven't won the Super Bowl in the last 10 years.
Even Bill Belichick more often than not did not win the Super Bowl.
I agree with you, Jeff. So again, listen, I love John. And, I shake my head and laugh when I see his stuff terrorizing Mike Tomlin. And I only hope that Mike Tomlin and his wife and family are not out on the town in Pittsburgh and run into our boy John, because it could get messy.
Oh, yeah.
John would be like a raging Wolverine. He'd be like all up his legs. He'd be tearing them apart. He has such a hatred for Tom. Blames him for everything.
I want to see Tomlin win a Super Bowl.
Okay. Just
one more.
Okay.
I want to see him win a Super
Pittsburgh?
Bowl. Yeah, of course, in Pittsburgh. I don't want to ever see him leave Pittsburgh.
Okay.
I just don't understand it. You're right. I don't know what you call it, but you just don't know. You don't know what it's all about, man.
No, you know what they need? They need to get a 5-6 year run of some of the people who've coached the Jets and the Giants, and get a couple of those 3 and 14 seasons, and then you go, I wish Mike Tomlin was back here again.
Look at you bashing the Giants, man. That's great.
Listen, today's all about some fun. Let's get to some stuff. I got a lot of stuff on tap. My pops keeps popping in, popping out. I don't know if something's wrong with his phone, if there's a problem with the connection on the Blog Talk. I don't see anybody on our screen, so I'm hoping that we're live and all that. It says we're up and running. So
let me see.
Take a look and see if you see us on Facebook. I'm hoping that we're live. Yeah, it sounds like we're there.
Yeah, we are there.
Okay, so we're there. So hopefully people will start joining us soon. But in the meantime, Jeff and I will entertain you and inform you. Hey, real quick before we get to the Giants and Jets, lots of playoff action coming up this weekend, Jeff. Some meaningful games to get to the playoffs. Some teams have clinched, all that good stuff. I got to get your take on the Antonio Brown saga. I mean, that might be the funniest / sad thing I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. He claims that they were trying to push him to play through an injured ankle.
Yes.
Meanwhile, you played half the game,
Yeah.
or 26 snaps on the said injured ankle.
Mhm.
That's one thing. And just we've come to like this guy is just unbelievable. I mean, of course, I remember when he was with Pittsburgh, but I don't remember him doing some of the stuff he's doing now. But he left the field and asked one of the New Jersey state troopers for a ride to the airport.
Yes.
Okay.
There's some fun memes with that. They have one of a guy hanging off the wing of a plane. Have you seen that one?
Yes.
Antonio, it's just hysterical. You know, here's the thing. So the first thing that came out was that he was pissed off because he wanted to play because he had certain milestones that had he got another few more catches, a few more yards, touchdowns, he could get like $1 million bonus. Then it came out that he didn't want to play because he's got a fractured ankle and he can't play. So I don't understand any of it. The Bucs held on to him. They now released him, I believe, today. So but again, I guess he can't play because he's got a busted ankle, and so I don't know. But you know who I feel bad for? The guys who stuck up for him, like Brady, who went to bat for this crazy bastard, and I never seen a guy walk off in the middle of a game like that ever in my life. I mean, basically,
on the only instance I can ever say that I've ever seen on the same level was Oliver McCall breaking down in the ring.
Okay.
Heavyweight match.
Okay.
20, 25 years ago, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
I've never, ever. Oh, wait a minute. No. I'm sorry. There was a cornerback that used to play for the Buffalo Bills.
Yes.
Yes,
I remember that.
Halftime.
Yes, I remember it. But he left from the locker room, I think. Did he leave from the field?
I never seen anybody do that before, man.
Yeah, I mean, and on top of, not just walking off the field, the guy stripped. The guy's throwing his uniform up in the air. He's got the gloves and the shirt going into the stands. He's waving to the Jets fans. The Jet fans don't know what to say and do.
It makes you wonder if maybe the state trooper should have turned around and said, "Yeah, I'll give you a ride," and just held them in custody until people with experience in this field know what to do and
give him a psych evaluation.
Yeah, because there's something seriously fucking wrong there, man.
Yeah, crazy. The question I'm gonna have is this guy going to get another chance next year?
Who?
I don't know. I'm just saying listen, most people thought after all the sexual all the sexual violence allegations, he would never play again. Brady goes to bat for him. He moves into Brady's house for a little while. He gets on their team, scores a touchdown in the Super Bowl last year, and gets a Super Bowl ring. And then they bring him back, and he's all sorts of problems. He gets through the season almost, and then he pulls this bizarre stunt. Leaving the field. None of it makes any sense to me.
He played in Pittsburgh, then went over to the Raiders, correct?
That whole debacle, yep.
Okay, we saw how that ended because he couldn't get his helmet.
Correct, yes.
Okay, he couldn't get his helmet. And then didn't he go to New England?
Yes, I believe you're right. Yes, he did wind up in New England for a couple of games, I think, at the end of that season.
Yeah, because then that's when the sexual allegations came out.
Correct.
And he would have had to be reinstated and serve that and this, that, and the other thing because they let him go.
Yep.
And then it was over to Tampa Bay, unless you're missing a team.
No, I think it was Tampa Bay because he followed Brady.
And I just, I don't see anybody saying. I mean, listen, the guy tore his shirt off, left the field. He's definitely proven that he's a specimen and a half. I don't mean that to be.
No, I got you. I got what you're saying. Yes,
guy's got a fucking body like a god.
Yeah,
he's definitely in good shape. I mean, can he play? I would say, yeah. I can't see how nobody would want him, but knowing that he's a totally loose cannon and unhinged, you just don't know what the fuck is next with this guy. How could you want him?
Yeah, I think it would. They was telling about today, and I kind of agreed. It would take a big time owner or team. It would take like an Andy Reid or a what's his name in Dallas, Jerry Jones, to go to bat for him. I think most teams would run away from him. They don't want the problem in the locker room. You got to figure he's a nut job at this point. So yeah, I think if a team got desperate and they had some juice, I wonder if the league takes any action in this. Does the league suspend him because of that? Do they give him a fine for conduct unbecoming? But yeah, who's the team that gives him a shot next year? I mean, he was praising Big Ben, still great. Meanwhile, going out the door in Pittsburgh, he was ripping Ben. It makes no sense.
Nuts. He's nuts.
Yeah.
He's nuts.
100%.
I want to see. I was hoping that this happened. That Tampa Bay said they were going to charge him for the jersey or something. That is, something stupid like. Yeah. That would have just been like, that's fucking beautiful.
Yeah. Listen, he made no friends there. Listen, it is what it is. It was probably the most bizarre thing. This will segue into our next topic, waiting for our guest, Mark Scott, to join us any minute now. I watched more of the Jet game than I did the Giant game, which is in bad seasons. I can, not to knock the Jets, but I usually am watching the Giants most days. And I'll flip back and forth.
I mean, even when they're winning, they lose.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. My dad just popped up before Mark gets here. Let's get my dad on and see what he's got to say on our first show of the brand new year. He's gone again. I don't know what happened to him. He's gone. So I don't know. Something must be going on in the.
Maybe he's butt dialing you.
Yeah, I don't know. He's there, and I'm about ready to pick him up, and then he's gone. So let's. If he pops up again, I'll just throw him right on the air. But yeah, I was watching. I watched a lot of the Jet game, and I'll tell you, Jeff, very disappointing. If you're a Jet fan, I know you chalk it up. They outplayed the Tampa Bay the whole game. I thought the decision to go for it. Now, did you watch any of this? Did you catch up on any of this?
No, I didn't see any of it, but I did read about it today, and it was supposed to be a pass.
Yes. Well, it was actually supposed to be a jet sweep, which is basically the wide receiver who was Berrios comes around, and as he gets to the quarterback, he snaps the ball and hands him the ball coming around the end, and that's the play. But unfortunately, supposedly there was a miscommunication.
Yeah.
There's two parts to the play. There's an either or. Depending on the formations, depending on how people lined up, he has the option of either doing that play or taking the ball on a quarterback keep. Supposedly, Saleh said that him and LaFleur screwed up. They didn't tell him you have to hand the ball off. You do not have an option on this play. So they're taking the heat. Some people seem to think that the kid called his own number and he's selfish. I have no idea. That's the guys on the Jet post-game show, which is Willie Colon, Bart Scott, and somebody else, were ripping the kid after the game.
Well, the offensive coordinator, LaFleur, did say that when he made that play,
right,
that there was nobody in the A gap. So that was the signal for him to take the run. So now I didn't hear all of that, what you just said.
Yeah, it's been the whole talk all week.
Where he made the right call on that. It just, I guess, not in that instance.
Yeah.
But you know what? Not for nothing. Evidently, a 93-yard touchdown fucking drive.
Listen, the kid played really well up until that point.
Yeah, but you got to stop him. You got to stop him. 93 fucking yards. You had 93 yards to stop this man.
Yeah, here's my problem with it. You're the Jets. You have an opportunity to win a big game, and again, I think every game you win as a Jets, beating Tampa Bay at home, last game of the season, it's a great way to go out. You're up 4, minute and change left. You know Tom Brady's got to go down and score a touchdown to win the game anyway. To me, kick the field goal, make it 7 points.
Yeah.
Now, great. If you make the 4th and 2, yes, agreed. The game's over. They can't stop the clock enough. The game's over. You win it. It's a gutsy call, but it's 4th and 2. It's not 4th and inches. It's not 4th and 1. And the play call was bad and the whole thing. And then, of course, Brady goes down the field 93 yards and beats the crap out of you and breaks your heart. So I would kick the field goal. I thought that was the bad part. I don't know if you disagree or not.
No, I don't disagree. I feel as though that if you're in a position, unless you're winning by, X amount of points with X amount of time left, that there's no way that they could beat you or whatever, you got to take the points. You have to take the points. You're playing Tom Brady, who has a history of making you look stupid. You had, what was it, a minute and a half left on the clock?
A minute, yeah, a little over a minute and a half.
Okay, a little over a minute and a half. And if you could have made it 7, then then he would have had to score a touchdown. And if they wanted to try to beat you, they would have had to convert a 2-point conversion or kick the field goal, and you still would have had overtime.
Correct.
So I gotta say, I would have definitely went for the guaranteed points or close to guaranteed points, I should say, not guaranteed points.
No,
I would have went for the 2 yards. That's a lot. That could be a lot in certain situations. You would think that evidently they were on their fucking Tampa Bay 7-yard line.
Yes.
That, something, but you got to kick the field goal there. You have to.
I agree. It's to me, it's a no-brainer. You got to come out of that game with a W. Played so well. But listen, let's put this on. Let's table this for a few minutes. Our good friend Marcus Scott is is just popped up. He's got a vodka coming out that he wants to help promote. The guy, let me tell you something. This is a good dude. He's been really good to us. And I want to make sure that we do our best to represent and promote whatever he's got out there. Now that we're big in Israel, Jeff, 8% of the audience is in Israel. It's a big market for Mark. Eventually, the American vodka makes its way over to Israel, and we got the boys in the clubs in Israel down in American vodka.
I want to see if the American vodka is gonna make its way to our houses. Let's see that.
Well, we're going to ask him if it's going to be local so we can support. But again, let's get him on quick. He's our good buddy and one of the nicest guys I've gotten to meet through the show. I haven't met him in person yet. I'm sure he would hire security to keep us away from him if he did have the opportunity to meet us. But he is good to us. Let's get him on. He's our good friend, Mark. What's up, Marcus Scott?
Some of the things you say, first off, Tommy, Jeff, God bless you. Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure to be on Hard Rock and Sports. But what is this baloney about? First off, I stand by Israel. Okay, let's get that straight. But you think that I'm not going to have a party when this thing launches out in the freaking East Coast? Where I'm from, folks, come on. We're going to party like freaking nuts. I'm coming to that studio. We're drinking. We're having a great time. We're going to watch the game, and we're going to freaking bathe ourselves in vodka. What do you know about that, tough guy? Come on. How we doing, guys? Great to see you. Thanks so much for having me.
No, please, Mark. We love having you. Thank you very much, and we appreciate you coming on. Give us a few minutes. So tell us a little. I mean, every time I talk to you, you got a new business venture going on. You got a little something going. I like to hear a little more music stuff, but American Vodka. I love the video. I love the ad. Great.
Thank you. Listen, I appreciate it. Thanks so much. I'm glad it is getting a very strong response. And mind you, I did write the music for the commercials. But honestly, I have put music on the back burner for a while. I got 2 songs I'm sitting on, but maybe later on this year. Right now, American Premium Vodka is exactly what I'm concentrating on. It's an important brand. I think it is the America we need right now. I think there's a lot of weirdness going on out there, and it's time for both sides of the aisle to calm down a little bit and maybe take a listen to what each other has to say, because we share a lot more as a country, as a united one, as opposed to a divided one. We will not move forward until we conquer this obstacle. And I'm telling you what, not that I'm any great politician, but I don't like hearing all the crap, and I don't like what the rest of the world thinks of America. And this is not the place we ought to be. We ought to be moving forward. So if we could all sit down, have a drink, and talk about it, I have a feeling that's a step in the right direction.
What about you?
I would agree.
What about you, Nancy Pelosi, maybe Chuck Schumer at the bar, bellying up for a couple American Premium Vodka shots and talking politics, and maybe you smooth this whole thing out?
I'll tell you what, I probably got a better shot than most. But particularly with the right anesthesia. So, all kidding aside, I don't want to turn it into a totally political format. I want to have fun. This whole brand was really created to support our veterans. $1 from every bottle sold will go to our real American heroes, our U.S. veterans and veteran-associated charities, most notably the American Legion. I'm a proud son of the American Legion, Pat Tillman Post 117 in Phoenix. And I'm telling you what, we have so much fun. And in doing so, we raise a hell of a lot of money for veteran-associated charities. And this vodka, American Premium Vodka, that is something in the arsenal to raise money to make sure our veterans are not neglected.
Wow, that's it. So Mark, give us a little bit of the background. How did you get involved in this? How much do you put in yourself to creating the vodka itself? And what makes American Premium Vodka different than, say, whatever the regular brands? Another.
Well, I'll give you the whole 9 yards. Started about 5 years ago, and I actually came up with the whole concept. I came up with the theme song, the narration, the whole 9 yards. But I guess at the time, I didn't feel as strongly as I felt about it now. When I was a kid, 16, 17 years old, I started playing taps at funerals, at Memorial Day, Veterans Day, doing parades in Paramus, New Jersey with the high school band. And I would be the guy playing taps in the cemetery. I'd look around at all these headstones, and like I was the only guy paying tribute to our troops. You know, it was very strange to me that no one else was really doing anything more. And that kind of like it I don't know, it did not seem to really, something seemed to be wrong with that, you know? So that's where it started. And I've been doing that now through the years. I'm a member of Bugles across America, and I still to this day play in cemeteries and play, for in honor of our fallen heroes. But taking it a step further, I think that what really ignited me in the past year and a half was a need. I went looking down my vodka. I happen to like vodka. And you look, there's this one promoting Russia, this one promoting the Czech Republic, this one saluting the greatness of Poland, and there was not one vodka brand that celebrated the greatness of America. Standing in Phoenix, Arizona, I said to myself, what, are you out of your mind? Are you kidding me? There isn't one damn vodka brand that says America. That I thought was inexcusable. And it was also an opportunity. I said, hey, this is something I truly believe in. I believe the time is right. And in my association with the American Legion, I don't see any better way to attack this and turn it into a positive. As far as finding the raw materials, the actual vodka, I went all over the country. I went to distilleries. I went to small craft areas that made their own little thing, that sort of thing. And through my travels, I literally found the very best vodka. I found the very worst vodka. And I came up with something special. It's an American brand with real American goods inside, not some Russian thing that I'm relabeling or anything like that, So I'm proud to say this is a true American spirit. And I'm honored to bring it to market. It launches March 15th. And it will coincide with the American Legion birthday. And I will be going on the road on tour through the American Legion posts of this country. And we're going to have a launch party each damn one. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. And I promise you there's going to be one by you.
That's what we're talking about. Me and Jeff, we never get invited to parties.
I swear to God, I will make you the guest of honor. I'm not kidding. I'm not blowing smoke at you. We're going to find out, because I'll be honest, like what I do, if you do a Google search for American Legions in your area, in the Phoenix metro area, there's like 15 of them. I'm not going to be able to go to 15 in Phoenix. I'll do it a bunch, but I'm telling you what, in the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, you know how many American Legion posts there are, buddy? Holy cow, we have 2 million members nationwide and over 12,000 Legion posts. So guess what? Can't go to all of them.
That's a lot of vodka.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of drinking. So I'll be unconscious by Thursday, Anyway, I mean, all kidding aside, I mean, there's some very high-profile ones and I'm really going to be going to the ones that generate revenue, the ones that raise the most money for veterans, So that's really the best one. There's some posts where guys sit around and they're not as active as other ones. So I want to go to the ones that are active, the ones that really take a personal interest in making a difference in the country.
Yeah, Jeff, you were going to say something.
No, I was going to ask about how do you, if you're going to do one of these promotional tours, how does that work? Like, what do you have X amount of gallons or bottles or cases of vodka that you just take from place to place to place? Or do you
typically sent out through a distributor? But yes, that's basically it. And there is a certain demand. Certain people will buy for the cause. We'll do raffles. We'll do, all kinds of things. And I have a certain amount of promotional items that I'll be giving away as well. So I mean, to give you an example, there's a whole schedule of events every month at any given American Legion where they're having fun. For instance, tonight is Thursday night. Thursday night's a very big night in Phoenix, something called Queen of Hearts. They take a whole deck of cards, each card in an envelope, they put it on the wall with a number on it, and you do a lottery. Everybody buys $10 worth of tickets, $50 worth of tickets, how many tickets you want, and somebody picks that ticket out. They pick your number. You get to pick one of those numbers on the wall. You get a chance to win $20,000. Oh, nobody gets it this week. Next week it's 21,000. The next week 22. The next week 23. Right now it's up to about 34 grand. Wow. So when I tell you, some guy last year, I think they won $80,000. So this is not baloney. And now, even though they're giving that money away, just imagine how much they're collecting on the other side in support of veteran charities. So it is very, very substantial. And that's just one post out of the 12,000 posts nationwide. The American Legion generates over $90 million on an annual basis to veteran charities. People have to learn about that. People have to understand what the purpose is. They get the idea it's a bunch of old guys sitting around the bar. And at times it is. But that is not the only thing we do. We have fun. We love to drink. We love to eat and have a good time. But we raise money for worthy charities. And the kind of people that get involved in those kinds of projects, that's the kind of people I want to hang out with. And that's why I joined the American Legion.
Wow, good for you. I'll tell you, we're certainly looking forward to that.
It's like partying with a purpose.
Yes, exactly. So you got to go out. You got a reason to go out there. You got a really good excuse to go out and get drunk and eat a lot of food and hang out really late into the night. So good for you.
As long as you do so responsibly, it's all good. No problem at all.
Absolutely. So now, is this going to be marketed all over the country? Is it specific areas to start? How does that work? Give us a little a light on the on how that works for you getting the product out to people.
Right. Well, right now, just so you know, the American Legion is my primary avenue. That is my primary target. You know, the mission is not just selling vodka. It's also supporting veterans. So my primary target are the American Legions and the 12,000 posts that run across the nation. How do I pick which ones? Like I said earlier, it's the ones that make the biggest difference for the veterans. You know, I'm a slave to what they're doing. I'm a servant of the people. You know, if I have a product, it's not just to sell the product. It's to be a part of the cause of what we do at the Legion. You know what I mean? So it kind of fits together. You know, it's not this is like a labor of love kind of thing. You know, it's not. You know, I mean, I hope you guys. You know, I sell a million bottles a week. That's great. Sure. But you know, the idea. I believe that if you do it the right way, you know, success will follow behind. So the proper avenue of approach is going to be military bases and American Legion posts primarily. You know, I have a big promotion going on with Luke Air Force Base that'll commence in March. Actually, it'll probably start late February. But the big launch is March 15th to coincide with the American Legion birthday. And at that date, I will announce the tour, where we're going to be going at least for the next month to 2 months. And I'll take it at a time. And we really choose it by the kind of revenue that they generate for the charity, as well as certain relationships. If I have a friend here in Phoenix says, "Oh, I've got a great guy in Vermont. You got to go to Vermont." Then, you know, I'll talk to them. We'll most likely iron that out. So it's based on relationships realistically, but of course, who's raising money for veterans, and that's the primary target.
Absolutely. Now, let me ask you this question: can guys like Jeff and I, if we wanted to buy this over the internet and support it that way until it becomes is that possible? Are we going to be able?
Absolutely. There'll also be distribution on regular store shelves as well. Okay. But I'm just saying I'm moving on it a little differently than the average vodka dealer. You know, everybody else is, while they're competing for shelf space, I'm gonna get my base with the Legion, and it's 2 million members and it's 12,000 posts. Oh, and by the way, each one of those 12,000 posts, about 97% of them have a bar in it. Sure. So when you have a base like that, getting distribution for the shelf is a lot easier than just being a new guy. Hey, please put my vodka on your shelf. So I'm approaching things a little bit differently than the average, how should I say, vodka swiller.
You know, Mark, I got to tell you, I got to applaud you because the sincerity I know is there. Knowing you is just a little that I do. I know how much this is, this means to you. I follow you on Facebook and all the social medias, and I see what you do out there every day. So I know it's important. But from a business standpoint, it's an amazing thing because most of this country, or a good part of this country, has re-energized with their patriotism. And I think coming out with this thing, with that ad alone, makes me want to run to the store and support it. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that.
The video, and I'm truly serious about that. I think it's a great marketing campaign, and I love the sincerity of what you're trying to do with it. And I think it's amazing. So I applaud you, and I look forward to tasting it, obviously. And,
Tommy, I appreciate that, and believe me, when the time comes, you'll have a bottle sitting in front of you. You too, Jeff. You know, and I'm telling you, I'm not kidding. I'm an East Coast guy. You know, so when the time comes, I'll be making the trip out there, and you will be the guest of honor at one of those American Legion posts in the tri-state area. Well, I'll try to get one near you. you know, and I'm sure there's a good one. I'm sure there's a good one.
No, there's plenty of great ones out here. And if you need a recommendation, we can certainly pass along a couple just in case. But I'm sure your network, you'll figure it out. You're again from this area. Jeff, could you imagine going to a party with Mark and having to have him say to people, "These are my friends, Jeff and Tom"?
Nah. Well, you'll be saying it, dancing on a bar with a headband around your head, with pretty girls, making sure you don't fall off.
It's our kind of party, Jeff.
You got to meet my first ladies. Yeah, I mean, all kidding aside, like I said, it's party with a purpose, and I think that's why people join the Legion too. They don't want to do it just to be industrious. It's fun, and the kind of people, when you get that kind of group of people together to make a difference, that's the win-win, man. And I like to associate myself with people like that. That's why I joined the Legion. I think that's why a lot of newer people join the Legion as well, why the Legion is growing, where a lot of other maybe veterans associations are dwindling in numbers. The Legion is growing, and that's really cool, man. That means new people are coming on, younger people are coming on, new ideas that come into play, and a difference is being made. And I think that's the coolest part of all that. That's why I ultimately really kicked this into action after 5 years of laying dormant. Now's the time, and the great people are behind me at the Legion, and we're having a great time, man. It's just so much fun.
Oh, good for you, man. And again, that's smart because Scott, he's got his new vodka coming out March 15th, as you heard Jim just say, American Premium Vodka. So we're going to have Mark give you some places that you can keep up on tour dates and distribution and all the good stuff that goes with it. And we definitely ask that you support him and the line. And it's a win-win. You get to help out the vets, and you get to drink a lot of good vodka that's made in this country by good American people, which we don't have happen very often anymore. So we're glad to see that. But hey, Mark, I got to do a couple of things that I've been wanting to ask you, and you can always tell me, Tom, mind your business.
No, come on, bring it.
I'm watching Facebook. I'm on Blabbermouth. I go on every week.
Here we go.
I see Trixter to perform, and all of a sudden I see it's acoustic Trixter with two guys, and I said, "What is this? And why is this?" And I said, "This has to be the official end of Trixter." So I'm going to ask you, what's the is there any change in the last year?
There is not. And when it comes to those acoustic Trixter things, I have nothing to do with it. I really have nothing to do with it. Peter Lauren, singer for Trixter. By the way, it's his birthday today, our singer, Pete Lauren. He and I are both here in Phoenix Metro, and the other two guys are in Jersey, and they're doing their thing. And if that's what they want to do, then, God bless, more power to them. But sometimes the manner in which it's presented is somewhat misleading. Mm-hmm. But again, I'm out of the mix on it. Pete's out of the mix on it, and I guess you'll have to take it up with them. And I'll be honest with you, it's a shame. We've been brothers for 40 years plus. And the idea that there is such a rift between us, it's almost like America.
It's funny. Yeah, it's funny. You know, it's funny.
It's not funny. It's terrible. Even whether it's America or Trixter, it's terrible. It shouldn't be that way. And you certainly never move forward by having such a rift. You know what I mean? Where there's such a strong divide between the countries, such a strong divide in the band. As long as that exists, neither of us are going to move forward. And that's terrible. That's horrible on any, plane or any relationship, any entity. So I don't like it. It's horrible. Maybe one day soon we'll have to do something about it. But I'm going to start with America.
Well, maybe you guys can get back together over some American Premium Vodka and hash out all the stuff and get some more great music. That last album was amazing.
Tommy, I love the way you think, man. May have to do an American Legion tour. I'll tell you what.
You guys can start playing some shows. It would be incredible. And it's funny. I told you back in the day when I turned down a chance to interview PJ, and I got banned from his whatever publicist it is. They completely wrote us off, and they won't. And I said, you know what? I don't care. You know what? I just don't care. You're not gonna. Do that to friends of ours, and we're in the Mark Scott camp, and we hope to someday that you guys can patch it together, play some shows, and put out some great music again. But in the meantime, so be it. I'll stay on the side of the.
Tommy, I can't tell you how much I appreciate the support. That's very kind, but by the same token, it's a shame that things have to come to that. You know what I mean? So, but I appreciate support. Both you and Jeff have been very endearing. I appreciate that. But let's hope one day that maybe we could abolish that blockade. Kill any embargo. And, there's no reason that we all shouldn't be partying and enjoying this celebration and moving America and Trickster forward.
I hope so for both, and I hope for the vodka and the whole bit. And when is the big announcement of the run for senator? I mean, we know it's coming.
Let me tell you something, pal. I have assumed the presidency of American Premium Vodka. It's a coup d'etat. I didn't have to run. I'm at the highest office in the land as far as I'm concerned. I don't need to run. I am the president. So, I'm moving forward on my own.
Trump didn't need to run either. The guy was pretty set in his life, but he came through for America. I got to think you might have to come through for us at some point. So.
I listen. You won't hear me argue about it. I'm a strong supporter. But all kidding aside, this mission is not about me. It's about the veterans. It's causing awareness for the American Legion and awareness of the fact that our veterans are being discarded. They are one of our most valuable resources that America has. And they should not be forgotten. They should not be neglected. And the least we can do is say, hey, thank you very, very much.
Listen, Mark, you're not going to get any arguments from Jeff and I. To me personally, I would like to see more stuff done for the vets. Get them off the streets. Get them the help they need. Get them, build. If you're going to build housings and again, I'm not looking to make this political, but if you're going to build housing and you're going to give money away, $400,000 to families coming across the border illegally, that money better go to our vets. Those are the people that should be taken care of. Those are the people that's where the money. If we're gonna burn money in this country, burn it that way, and thank these people who went across and protect us and serve us, and that's where the money should go. And I'm a big believer. So I hope that message gets out to people better.
I'm with you 100%, Tommy. And believe me, I don't want to see money burned in any which way. And certainly when I hear some of those exorbitant figures that have been thrown in certain areas that maybe we don't necessarily find palatable. I don't know how sensational that is. On what level of that is that really being employed?
Right.
But this is not a whole political agenda that I have here. It really isn't. This is supposed to be a fun agenda. And you know what? Yep. It's about moving America forward. Taking little things like, well, not little things, but certain things like the discarding of veterans or the ignoring, that they have served this country and have gave their full measure of devotion for this country. That should never be ignored. That should never be forgotten. It should be acknowledged, and we establish charities in their name without question. That's what we're doing now. And so it's taking things and moving America forward. It's not about dwelling on the past. It's about getting away from what's negative and moving in a positive direction. And it has nothing to do with political party.
Well, I'm glad, but listen, I'm glad there is a little bit of an undertone to the fun you're going to have and for the mission you have. So I'm glad you showed up. You got a suit and tie. You got the whole thing working. You're looking very presidential.
Well, I appreciate that. That's what it's really all about, And underneath, I'm naked and I'm having a great time.
Well, he's Mark Scott. Mark, do me a favor. Tell everybody, websites, anything that they can keep up on what you're up to, and more information on the tour dates, especially.
I appreciate it. Again, the big launch will be on March 15th. To keep for all your information, it's AmericanPremiumVodka.com. All the links to social media are there. I recommend you go there. The video, our commercial is there. You can take a look at what I'm talking about, what Tommy was talking about earlier. And I got to tell you, again, Tommy, Jeff, Hard Rocket Sports Radio, I can't tell you how much I really appreciate all the love. God bless you, my friends. Thank you very much for your support.
Mark, thanks, man. We really appreciate it. And like I said, we're going to support it all the way through. Anything we could do to help in any way, please just ask. And I want to bother you a little bit off the air to say the same thing. So if you need anything from us, anything we could do to pass the message on, please just
I need your help in polishing off a few bottles, my friend. I'm not kidding. We're going to have one in your honor. I'm going to make you guys the guest of honor on one of these American Legion posts on the East Coast. I swear to God, I'm going to do it.
I'll be happy just to sit down, have a drink with you, and get to meet you in person, Mark. It's a pleasure.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Jeff, Tommy, thank you. I appreciate it.
Brother. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
You got it.
Hey, Mark, take care. Good dude. Jeff, could you imagine that we get to hang out with Mark Scott and have a few vodkas in our honor?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
He's a good dude. I really like him. I got to tell you, of all the people that we've gotten to meet, he's one of those guys that, if he was in this area, he could be part of our crew. Like he's one of those guys, just a fun guy, just loves to do his thing.
Yeah, I hear you.
You know, so we'll see. But I would look forward to. Would you go? I mean, if we got invited to a American Legion.
Well, yeah. I mean, it depends on where it is, of course. I mean, you know, suppose what are you going to do if he turns around and tells us it's like in Connecticut?
Let me tell you, I would go at this point. Yeah, to me, because you know what? Mark has been in this business. If you ever follow him on Facebook, he's friends with so many musicians and power people in the business that it would be a great opportunity to go shake hands and meet people that, you know, whether we're big fans of their bands or not, you know, are future guests, and, you know, you just never know. So yeah, to me, within reason, of course, I would make the job, but I would, knowing Mark and he's from this area, you know, we'll be traveling to someplace in New Jersey to shake hands and have a couple of vodkas, and, you know, it might be one of those nights where we're Ubering it home. Who knows? So I will definitely take a night off to go do that.
Speaking of Ubering, where did everybody Uber on out of town? And
yeah, I don't know. Well, we have a lot of live viewers. Just people are just not. There's a whole bunch of names that I don't recognize that liked the show so far.
Yeah,
nobody's popping up on the screen to say hello to us, but that's okay. There were a lot of people. Mark brought a lot of people to the party, as so to speak. So again, guys, Mark Scott, former Trickster drummer, I guess at this point, and his American Premium Vodka. Please make sure you support our good buddy. So Jeff, there's Doug. Hey, Dougie boy, Dougie Franklin popped up.
Okay, there we go. Well, at least we're not. I thought we were completely dead at that point.
Nope, Jeff, we're out there. Again, I could tell you if people like the show, Jerry Steinberg, Lori Locke, let's see, some other people here have liked the show and are listening. But and then Dougie's here. Dougie, good luck to your Cowboys this weekend. Not much of a big game, but head into the playoffs. So good luck to the Cowgirls along the way. Dougie, I'm sure you're the life of the party. That's all right. So Jeff, we were talking about the Jets Giants before we and again, Jeff, we'll go as long as you feel like you want to do it. When you throw your hands up in the air, you let me know.
I'm good, dude. Let's do it, because you know why? I certainly can't go lay down at this point in time. So the plan is, when the show is over, I'll get washed up, and then
okay.
I don't know, fall asleep at the dining room table for a little bit, set an alarm, and
what time do you have to be in?
11:30.
Ooh, Jeff, you should be in bed right now. Holy cow, you're insane.
You know what? Here's the worst part.
Go ahead.
I hate work. I hate going to work and all this other shit. But whatever. Last year they gave this overtime to some dillweed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I got pissed off because I was like, why wasn't I even asked? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So, needless to say, people come up to me today. They're like, "Oh, are you doing this overtime?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Oh, okay. Because I was going to ask if you're not going to do it, you know, maybe I could do it. And I'm like, no, fuck you, lick my fucking nuts. I was like, I'm doing it. I'm doing every fucking minute of it.
Now, how does that work when you're on vacation and you work? How does that work? Is it a special day? Is it?
It's a special day. It's like going to the doctor, and he turns around, you hear the glove snap, and he's like, "All right, you know what's coming."
Yeah. Hey, Michael Bates, thank you for that. We appreciate it. And Mark is an awesome guy. We appreciate it. Come on back on Thursday night. Chef, we're here every week, and we do this all the time. So I appreciate it. And Dougie, I don't know where John is. He could be listening, or he could be off signing a new band to the.
I know exactly what he's doing. I can tell you exactly what he's doing. He's at home making a new fucking voodoo doll of fucking Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, he does have the issues with that. But Jeff, let's get back to it. So my big problem with the Jets on that is, you know, I'm big on certain things. Like I think, yes, Marco Scott is the man. You know, I'm big on go ahead and change the culture. That would have been a big win. And here's why it's a bad loss. One, you miscommunicate. Your quarterback either runs the wrong play on purpose, or you guys screwed it up. Then you allow Tom Brady to walk, after you shut him down all day, to walk down 93 yards under a minute and change and score a touchdown from 30 yards out to beat you. To me, it's a bad look. I'll give the Jets credit. They played great football. And I'll tell you something with the Jets. And we break each other's balls all the time about it. The Jets are at least entertaining. They're not great.
I don't know about
no,
that.
Dude, I've watched their last few games. They're not a good team yet, but they are at least entertaining. They put on a product that's at least keeps your attention. In Sunday's game, they were good for 3 3/4.
Yes, but you know what? Is it that they were good, or is it that the Buccaneers aren't as good as they once were?
Well, again, that's a great
Brady
point.
is getting older. There's a difference.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. If Tom Brady and the Bucs go deep into the playoffs or get to a Super Bowl or win a Super Bowl, you're going to look at yourself and say, hey, we were a speed bump in their way. Now, had they won the game, it would have been a bigger prize. But to me, no, I think either way, you beat the defending, you had a chance to beat the defending Super Bowl champions. You weren't embarrassed. Now, again, I don't like the way it ended. I certainly don't like the play call. In that moment, if you're less than a yard, I would think about it. But at 2 yards, Jeff, you can make this a point where even if Tom Brady walks down the field, he's only tying the game.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So to me, that was the bad part of that. And I like the fact that Saleh went and defended his quarterback. And whether, again, if you watched, and I got to see it later on, but if you watch the post-game show with the Jet guys, Cologne and Bart Scott, and I can't think of the other guy's name, they were ripping. And they were basically, without saying it, Bart Scott and Willie Cologne were basically saying how they hear kind of bad things about Zach Wilson as a person. And they think that it manifests itself. Huh?
I could see that.
Right. And they think that he was...
The look in his face rubs me the wrong way. Now, I know that you can't judge anybody sports star that way, but he the way that his mother is too involved with everything, which leads me to believe that he's very entitled.
Yep.
And if he sees something, maybe he didn't do it for the glory.
Yep.
But maybe he thought this is going to be the better play at this point in time.
Yeah.
And that's what happened, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, again, according to the coach, he said there was a play they called. It has a 2-part play. Depending on the formation of the defense, he has an option either way, either hand the ball off on the jet sweep or to keep it and go for the dive. Now, the kid weighs about 120 pounds soaking wet. So him on a quarterback keep for 2 yards makes no sense. Saleh came on and said, hey, we forgot to tell him there's no way in the world we want you to run that play. We want you to, no option, just hand the ball off. Again, the guys on TV alluded to the fact that they think or know or were told that he basically called his own number out of ego. We'll never know. Nobody's ever going to tell us. So, but I like the fact that Saleh at least stuck up for his quarterback and tried to take the heat for himself and his coaching staff. So I'll give them credit for that. I thought it was a bad job at the end of the game because of the play call and the decision to go for it, Jeff. But I like the way that they handled it at the end. So we'll see how that turns out for the rest of the season.
I guess you got to think of it too. I mean, they were winning, but eventually a team like this has to take a chance.
Yes, agreed.
And show that, we're just not going to play conservative football and do this and that. We're going to go for the win and make sure that we're going for the win. If they had made that conversion,
game's over.
Well, of course, the game is over.
Yeah.
But I mean, they win in a completely different way. Let's say they kick the field goal.
Yep.
Okay. And Brady marches the ball down 65 yards and just runs out of time.
Right.
Okay. Is what it is. But, if they made the field goal and Brady now has to get a score, a touchdown, with an extra point.
Yep.
I mean, a 2-point conversion. Now you're making it twice as hard for the guy. First, you got to get down there. Then you got to score a touchdown. Then you need to do the 2-point conversion.
Right.
But, in the past, a lot of Jet coaches were playing for the tie.
Yes.
Maybe some people would have said all over Saleh, like, well, why didn't you go 4th and 2 down and deep in their end? You got to go for it. You got to.
I agree.
You got to put this to bed.
No, I agree.
Whereas opposed to you're playing for a tie. You're playing safe. You're playing conservative. there's always going to be somebody that's going to say something stupid.
No, Jeff, I agree. I think most people were thrilled that he went for it. Most people you heard on the radio, most of the TV people, everybody was kind of praising him for saying, "Hey, you got the balls to go for it." I think everybody was questioning the play call, rightfully. And when John just popped up, "Hey, Johnny boy, Jeff was accusing you of being you weren't around because you were making Mike Tomlin voodoo dolls and sticking pins in it." Just for the record, John.
That is true, John. I did say that.
I was defending you, John. I said you would never you might buy a Mike Tomlin voodoo doll, but you would never make one. So I hope you didn't. But again, so Jeff, again, good job by the Jets for 3 3/4. I just don't like the way the game ended, but I'll give solid credit. And I'll tell you this. The last few Jet games, I've watched a good piece of them. It's better than watching the Giants right now, and much more entertaining. I mean, I'll segue into Mike Glennon and Mike. How is Mike Glennon even? I would tell you, you and I couldn't do a worse job than Mike Glennon at this point in time. We could not do a worse job. We couldn't do a better job, but we certainly couldn't do any worse than he does. If I threw the ball,
don't say that you can't do a better job. By the way, don't say that. Don't say you can't do a better job. I seen some of his box scores, and I couldn't believe them for myself. And it's just unbelievable that some of these guys that are in the NFL, but it's like I've said to you before. Say what you want. The NFL right now, if there's 32 teams, each team has 3 quarterbacks on their roster. You're talking the top 96 people on the planet that play quarterback are in the NFL.
Yep.
Because if there was somebody better, they would get rid of whoever it was and take them. So as bad as Mike Glennon is, he's probably fucking he's probably still a better quarterback than half the arena leagues and XFL and CFL quarterbacks.
But that's not saying much. I mean, I'm watching the guy, Jeff. The guy has been in the league for years now. He has.
You can't ask the guy to pick up playing a game every 6-7 years either. You know what I mean?
But he honestly looks like he's never played quarterback before. I mean, the guy's making millions of dollars in his career. The guy's made a ton of money as an NFL quarterback, and he looks like, in hockey, they have the emergency goalie is like a 40-something-year-old fireman who lives in the area, and they hire these guys to sit in the stands, and God forbid, both your goalies go out. You had a couple guys last year who actually played in the game. Some guy actually won a game.
Yes.
Mike Glennon looks like that guy. Like he's the emergency quarterback in the stands. By day he sells beer and pretzels around the area, and then you say, Mike, sit in the stands this week because we're coming in, and the 2 quarterbacks get hurt, and Mike Glennon comes popping down in his uniform, and he tries to throw 10 passes, and 3 of them magically wind up in somebody's hand. I mean, that's what he looks like.
Well, listen, I remember when the Jets, there was a time I wanted the Jets to sign him.
Yeah.
Because he was the big free agent. And I was like, might as well get him. He's probably the best option out there right now. But, listen, the Giants, you can't blame the team. You have to blame those around the team. Now, I know I've been saying this for 2.5, 3 years now that you got to get rid of Gettleman.
Good.
Gotta go.
He's gone. Listen, it's been a foregone conclusion for 2 months.
He's still there.
Yeah, they're not going to fire him now. They're going to fire him on Monday or allow him to resign.
Just out of principle, I would have fired him at halftime. But get the fuck out. No, but that's me.
Yeah, that's you. You're impetuous that way.
Second,
yeah.
Okay, he is the one that provides the players to the teams.
Yes.
Okay? Bad pick. There's a lot of bad picks that this guy has made over his time with the New York Giants.
Yeah.
And I'm sincerely worried that he has knocked that team so far into wherever the fuck they are right now that it's going to take them years to get it back on track, because they already have the possibility of a weak amount of fucking money going into free agency.
Yep.
And nothing. So what do you do next year?
I told you that last week. I think the Giants next year are going to be no better than they are this year. I think the future is bright with salary cap. But again, who are they going to hire? who's going to be around. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Listen, the rumor is that Jim Harbaugh is going to throw his hat in the ring, possibly for a head coaching job. If you told me that tomorrow, I'm not the biggest Jim Harbaugh fan, but if you told me now, Tom, you can get rid of Joe Judge and bring in Jim Harbaugh, and you're going to let him, I'd have to say, yeah, do it. Again, like I told you, give me the guys. Now, I'd like to see Judge come back. I hate this 2 years and change our underwear thing. But if Jim Harbaugh is available, I'll take it. I don't want Russell Wilson. And there's a new one about Baker Mayfield. I don't want Baker Mayfield as a giant quarterback. That's a waste of time. But I think you're right. But yeah, Jeff, next year is a disaster already, in my opinion, because you can't fix it in 1 year.
This is the only thing that I say.
Go ahead.
Okay, and I said it last week and everything else, but you seem to be a little bit more thinking clearly this week. I like it.
You like it?
If you allow a new general manager to come in,
yep.
Okay, and you're force feeding him Joe Judge, and it doesn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what happens if that general manager turns around and says, "Okay, I want to get rid of him and bring in my guy," and then in turn that guy's going to want to bring in his guy, a quarterback, and then somebody turns around and says, "Well, no, we don't want to go that route. We want to keep Judge and we want to keep Jones." And now you may get a turn around and get a general manager that turns around and be like, "You know what, I'm out of here then." And then the next general manager, it may just snowball from one stupid act to another I think really, honestly and truly, you need to enter your mind, bring in a quarterback, a coach, and listen to what he has to say. And if he turns around and says, "I want to get rid of this guy for this, I want to go this route, I want to go do this instead," I think if you're the Giants, I think you have to listen. And that includes getting rid of the quarterback. I really think you got to do it.
Well, here's what I would say.
Quarterback and coach, too, not just quarterback.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield, I heard it today on the fan, and Carton and Roberts, and Craig Carton was extolling, you got to go get Baker Mayfield, and I think that's atrocious. I mean,
let me ask you something. Who called that?
Who called what?
Who said that? Who said that first? Baker Mayfield was going to the Giants. Who said it? Who said it? I just asked who said it.
You did, Jeff.
Thank you.
It's a dumb idea, but that's okay. We'll get.
I didn't ask what you thought of the idea. I just asked who said it.
You did. You absolutely did. I agree with you. I heard it today on the radio, and it's equally as stupid as you said as he said it. But that's a whole different thing.
The only thing that would make that better,
is
if they lose Gettleman.
Yeah.
They fire the coach.
Yeah.
Okay. They bring in Mayfield.
Mm-hmm.
And then you know who they hire?
Who do they hire, Jeff?
Jason Garrett.
Oh, my God. Fucking shoot myself. All right. So here's what I say when it comes to.
I would have to buy you the gun for that one.
Yes, you'd have. Yes, I'd have to come stay at your house. You have to lock me in the bathroom and take my shoelaces, hide all the medicine, because I would kill myself if that ever happened. If any of that happened, as a matter of fact. Here's what I'll say about the general manager. And yes, I think if you find the guy that you want and he comes in and they basically come in with their plan. I want to come in. These are the kind of guys I want to hire. Maybe these are the coaches I want to go after. These are the players. He'll probably evaluate. They're going to ask him, evaluate our roster. He may come in and say, "I love Daniel Jones. I hate Daniel Jones." And you're going to pick your guy based on, okay, here's my number one guy. He wants to make these changes. I want to make them. I don't want to make them. I'm going to go to my second guy. So, yes, I think you have to. Now, you may get a guy who comes in and says, he may be, I'm going to use Louis Riddick because or I won't use Abrams because most people don't want Abrams. But if Louis Riddick was your guy and he came in and says, "Listen, I want the job. 3 years, it's fixed. Joe Judge has got to go, but Daniel Jones is going to stay. This is how I'm going to fix it." And then you allow him to make the move. I would say this: if the coach comes in, if the general manager comes in and says Joe Judge is my guy, and I want him to stay because I think he can do the job, then I think they're tied at the hip. You got to keep Joe Judge as long as you're keeping the general manager, because that's like him bringing in a new coach. For me, you can't have him say that and then fire him the next year.
It depends. You're already talking. All right, how about this? Look at it this way: you're talking Joe Judge, owner of the 10-22, 10-23,
like yep,
career record. Probably by the end of this season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's say next year he does another 4-13.
Right.
Okay, so now you're going to talk. He's almost 25, 30 games under 500.
Correct.
Okay, think of what kind of percentage he's going to have to play at just to get up to 500 as a football coach, and how many years is it going to take? You're talking he's going to have to be 12-5, 13-4 for like 2 or 3 years in a row just to get up to 500 as a career coach.
Yeah, but who's going to care at that point? If let's say you're right. Let's say next year he wins 4 games.
Because there's always going to be somebody they're gonna look at it. They're gonna say something. I just think that he's dug himself into such a hole here with the Giants that if you keep him, he's going to have to be flawless next year for them to turn around and say, how are you going to say after 3 years this guy is 17 and 35, 34, whatever.
No, I agree next year. I agree with that. But then going forward,
you have to think of it.
No, I agree with that. But I also say to myself, and let's talk about it. We're blasting him. We're blasting Gettleman. We're firing Gettleman because of the players. He's giving them nothing. We agree with that. So at what point do we say, okay, at what point is it the coaching versus the players? Right now, do we give him a better chance of a better team? And then if that falls apart, then we get rid of him. I don't know. But to me, if he's bad next year, and let's say they keep him for 3 more years, next year he's bad, I could care less. I could care less his winning percentage. If the next year he's 13-4, 12-5, I could care less as long as he wins that season, wins the next season, wins. I could care less what his career record is. I only care about the stat season right there and then. His career record will only matter when the day comes he goes to retire and we're judging him on his retirement.
Well, whatever you want to say, I understand your point, but you know what?
John, we're no longer friends, John. We're no longer friends.
Well, I would love to see Dwayne Haskins line up for the Giants, man. That would be great.
Yeah, no, thank you. That's okay. You guys can have him. He's soon to be flipping burgers in the nearest Wendy's.
Who?
Pittsburgh. Haskins.
Yeah, I got a bad feeling about that too.
I think he's flipping burgers.
I understand your insistence upon wanting to hold on to him.
No.
There's always going to be somebody that's going to question it.
Of course.
And they're going to turn around and say, all right, the first year he was there, it was bad. Okay. It got worse the second year. And if he doesn't improve, it'll be like it's trending downward.
Agreed.
To give him a 4th year if he doesn't do good in the 3rd year.
No, but all I'm saying is this: if it's like this, to me, you got to treat this like this. If you bring in a new GM and the GM says on his own, I'm not telling you that he gets to. If they take their 3rd pick of the guy and they just said you get the job if you keep Joe Judge, bets are off. And I don't think that'll happen. But I'm saying is if the new GM comes in and says I like Joe Judge, I've talked to him, I like his philosophy, I've watched the Giants, I think he's a good coach. I want Joe Judge to stay. Again, then at that point, the clock starts all over for Joe Judge. Now, again, I understand your point. He's going to get pigeonholed because of the first couple of years, but you can't allow the GM to say, he's my guy. They have a bad season based on the fact that the salary cap sucks, they're stuck with players that are no good, and then say, oh, going to the 2nd year, no, Joe Judge is no longer my coach. He's gone. I'm starting all over again. I think either the GM's got to commit to Joe Judge.
That's why I say, why in God's name do you want that? Because you've already had a 2-year preview of Joe Judge.
But again, we're judging him based on very bad players who don't play. And again, we're blaming Gettleman for that, right? We're not saying that Joe Judge was given a good team. You've said it for 2 years. He brings in bad players. These guys don't play. They're hurt. So I'm going to say is, if the GM wants to keep him, you wash the first 2 years and you say, here's your team for 2 years under the new GM. And the GM, if he chooses to keep Joe Judge, not if Mara keeps him, I'm saying if the GM comes in and says, I want to keep Joe Judge, he's on his clock.
But now think of this, Tom.
Yeah.
Okay. You already have 2 bad years.
Yeah.
And now you're willing to go a 3rd year.
Yes.
Okay. And now you're willing to go a 4th year with Judge.
Correct.
So now you're 4 years in.
Yep.
Okay. So now that means by year 5 of Joe Judge, you're maybe, if you're lucky, starting to see some results.
Okay.
Joe Judge gets 5 years in New York, and
he's got a 6-year contract, Jeff. He's not here on a.
They get a 6-year contract. They all think that he's going to win Here he comes from the Belichick coaching tree. He's going to bring some of that knowledge over, and he doesn't do dick. If you're not winning after 2 or 3 years in New York, you're definitely not staying for 5.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but again, I think and I don't want to belabor this, but if the new GM comes in and says, that's my guy, you can't give him a year. You got to give him a year for the GM to fix things, turn around, and give him adequate players, especially the offensive line. And it's the same thing. If that guy keeps Daniel Jones, that's his, when he walks in the door and he says, these are my players, this is what we're going to battle with, like Joe Douglas has done, like other GMs do, that's your guy, and you live with that guy now. Now, again, if Mara comes in and says, take the job, but you got to keep these guys, now it's a little different for me. But to me, if you're Mara, if you hire a GM, you got to let him make the decision on Judge, on Daniel Jones, and basically
the Giants have already almost publicly said this. They didn't publicly say it, but
they have not said it
behind the scenes that they said that Judge and Jones are coming back for next year.
Well, I think Jones coming back from next year doesn't guarantee the fact that he's your quarterback. It just means he's going to be on the roster. Now, there's no reason why.
Why are you going to put this guy at the money he's making on the roster?
But you know why, Jeff? Here's the thing. Because you're probably, if you're going to fix it, you're probably going to wind up drafting a quarterback. Now, I don't like the guys in the draft, but maybe the new GM and the scouts do. Maybe you're bringing in, for 1 year. He's not making a ton of money, and maybe you allow him to be the backup or fight for a job. Daniel Jones is not a terrible quarterback. He's not a great quarterback yet, but he's not terrible. But I think the problem is you don't have to be at some point, the Packers had Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers on their team. It doesn't mean you have to have one or the other. I'm just saying is Daniel Jones could be on the roster, and if he falters, you have a guy who's capable, whether it's a veteran guy or a guy on the thing, doesn't mean he has to be the starter. It just means he has to have competition and go out there and earn the job and play.
I totally.
I think there's enough there.
What happens if you keep Jones on the roster?
Yeah,
it would just be the same as if when the Jets drafted Wilson, and if they kept fucking Donald. Okay, Donald didn't do dick for 3 years. Jones didn't do dick for 3 years.
I disagree. Daniel Jones' rookie season was really good. He had a great rookie season. Yeah, a little bit of issues.
And then he totally regressed.
No, I'm not disagreeing. But now do I say, okay, the first one was under Pat Shermer. He had, maybe it was a better system for him. Then 2 years of Jason Garrett could have regressed it. I don't know. But to me, I saw enough that first year to say, hey, wait a second. There's no way in the world he forgot how to play. Maybe it's the system he was playing, and maybe it was the play calling. Maybe it's the fact that the offensive line got worse.
Too many excuses that you get too complacent with the people that they give you when you want to keep them.
But who's the answer?
And
I'll say it again.
But it ain't working.
Who's the answer?
Not these guys.
No,
not these guys.
But again, am I going to go out there and they're going to bring in another Mike Glennon type guy? Am I going to wind up with?
Would you not agree that Bill Belichick could probably field the winning roster? Okay, when I mean winning, I'm not talking about necessarily a Super Bowl every year.
Just a winning record.
But a winning record, playoffs, maybe. Sure. Get to an AFC championship game once in a while, maybe even a Super Bowl, but they would lose. Do you think that he could do with a majority of the players that are in the league? That he doesn't need a special superstar. Maybe he has an above-average quarterback.
Proving that this year.
What's that?
He's proving that this year.
Well, but he didn't do it last year, but he is proving it this year.
Yeah, last year, he lost 9 guys to COVID, 9 starters to COVID last year. So we'll throw last year out. But you're right.
Maybe Mac Jones is the real deal too.
Yeah, that's very possible, but I think he's done a great job of playing to Mac Jones' strength and not making him have to win games. He looked great this weekend, scored 50 points, so I think he can do it.
Who they played, the fucking Jaguars?
Yes.
But the point being is that you said it yourself, that Brady was able to play with guys that weren't great receivers, weren't great quarterback, receivers.
Yeah.
And they were still able to win and play at a high level.
Absolutely.
That's why I think that when you got a guy like Judge, he came in and it's just like flatlined and nothing happened. When you go 3 years, 5 years in a row, it is at this point that they've lost double-digit games.
Mm-hmm.
That's not improvement. That's not improvement.
I agree with you.
Here and there isn't. So you need to clear house.
No, see, I disagree. Look, I'm going to go back.
So you're going to keep the
early. I'm going back to the early 80s. Okay, Ray Perkins gets the Giants a couple of playoff games in a row. All of a sudden now, the Giants are looking good. They're starting to play really good football. They're on the way. They're on their way to Super Bowls a few years later. Ray Perkins gets a job at Alabama, takes it. Bill Parcells comes in, 3-12-1. One of the most horrendous teams I've ever watched. That season's horrendous. He almost gets fired. Gets a little better in the next year. They keep him another year. All of a sudden, it all clicks. He does the job, and the Giants go on to win 2 Super Bowls and have about 7 or 8 years of really good success. All I'm saying is sometimes it doesn't happen day one. Sometimes you got to be patient and just let it happen. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
it's like saying if you bought chicken and every time you ask your wife to make chicken, she completely fucks it up. She just can't cook chicken. There's just some people that can't cook. Well, how many more times are you going to buy a chicken and say, well, maybe this is the time?
But what if the next one is the one? I'm just saying is if you give up on a guy after just – think about this. How many players, Jeff, do we talk about all the time? Well, maybe if they gave him a third or fourth year, it finally comes. There's a lot of guys that the first year or two just don't get it. I mean, I can go back to like Amani Toomer. His first few years with the Giants were terrible. All of a sudden, it clicked in like the fourth or fifth year. Eli, the first 3 years, he's skittish. He's a turnover machine. Year 4, end of the season, he's still being talked about. They want to get rid of him. All the fan bases, I'm listening to it. And all of a sudden, in his 4th year, he goes on a run, wins a Super Bowl, and his whole career turns around. Sometimes it takes more than just 1 year to get it right. And this is a guy who's a special teams coordinator, never been a head coach. Sometimes if he's got the right message and the team and the players play for him, sometimes you got to give him a chance to get there. I'm not telling you after last week and the press conference and how terrible it was.
I didn't see that.
It was terrible. It was terrible. He needed just, you know what? I like the guy. And I know that he has this thing about not throwing the players under the bus. But at some point, you got to walk out there and go, we played bad. We coached bad. We are bad. I got nothing else to say. We're going to work hard this week. We're going to try again next week. To go out there and keep making excuses and talk about all these crazy ideas. I think truthfully, I think if the right coach is available, I think Joe Judge is not the Giants coach next year.
So you think that
I think he's on a slippery slope. I think he went from Mara almost insisting he come back next year to the new GM to I'll let the new GM decide. That's what I think has happened this week. He went out and he knocked Ron Rivera and the Redskins. By the way, did you see the new name, the supposed new name leaked out for the Redskins? No. The Washington Admirals.
The Washington Admirals?
Yeah, it's supposed to be February 2nd, I think was supposed to be announced, but it kind of got leaked out, and then Boomer Esiason kind of said that it's going to be the Washington Admirals. So it looks like the new name is the Washington Admirals, which I don't know.
What are your thoughts of that?
I didn't like it. Honestly, I didn't like it at all. No, it sounds like it almost sounds like an arena football league team.
No, I don't think so. What I think is there's a couple ways that could have worked.
Okay.
That team. Okay.
Uh-huh.
I think that name could have worked if they were more, and now just hear me out before you say anything. If they were more on the coast. If they were
near water, okay, yeah. Like
the Admirals is a naval term.
Like San Diego would be a perfect place for the San Diego Admirals.
Wherever there's a Navy-based town,
gotcha,
or something, okay? Because the Admiral is a Navy-based position and rank, okay? So if it was near a Navy-based town or something, or was known for its waterfront, then I could see that. That's one thing right there. I could understand that, but. You're going to go now. What colors are you going to use if you're going to call it the Admirals? You're going to.
As I know, they're staying with the same colors.
You know what color I would use with that?
Let me guess. Hold on. Let me think about that. I would say some sort of like an ocean color, like a
exactly.
Color of the ocean type of thing,
like a blue, gray.
Yeah, like a tealish. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, something in the realm of the ocean. What the ocean look like?
Well, something
like a blue and a white,
dark blue, dark gray.
Yeah,
something like that, like like Rough Waters or something, but you pretty much You understand what I'm thinking? That's what I'm thinking.
Absolutely, but from what I've seen, it looks like it'll be the Washington Admirals, same colors, and it looked like stars on the helmet, on the shirt, like a row of stars, like an Admiral's stars.
Yeah.
That seemed to be like the impression I saw today in the paper or online somewhere. I think I saw it. I'm not really sure, but so it looks like that. But listen, I think at this point, yeah, I mean, as bad as the Giants have looked the last 3 or 4 games, and it's unwatchable football. I mean, Jeff, I'm watching Giant football since I am 9 years old. I'm gonna say 1976. Some bad teams. I watched the fumble in the Miracle in the Meadowlands when Prasadic fumbled the ball and Herm Edwards scooped it up and ran for a touchdown.
Yep, I remember that was one of the first things that I remember watching football too.
Me, same here. And I watched all those bad games. I watched all the games in '83, the Giants, all those bad teams. Some of the Jim Fossil teams that were really bad when Tiki Barber and Michael Strahan were fighting with each other in the newspapers because the defense was great and the offense sucked. There was so much. I've seen it all. This is the most unwatchable Giants football that I have ever watched.
Think about what you're saying.
Yep.
Think about what you're saying.
Yep.
And yet you want to retain the head coach and the quarterback.
Well, again, the quarterback hasn't played. Again, this is all happening.
He played more than half the year, Tom.
No. I'm not talking about all season. The season, there was a bunch of Giant games that were close, that Daniel Jones played really well. The last 4 games that he hasn't played have been some of the most unwatchable football that I have ever been able to, that I've ever had to sit through. And again, I found myself in this watching the second half of Sunday's game. I watched most of the Jets, and I flipped back and forth to the Giants. And every time I turned it on, it was a sack or an interception or something ridiculous, and I couldn't watch. And, what I wanted my head coach, Joe Judge, to do was get out there after the game, get up in front of the thing and just say, hey, we didn't coach well, we didn't play well, we didn't tackle well, we didn't throw well, we did nothing right. We're going to work our asses off this week and get back here. I apologize to the fans for the product, and we're going to do our best to fix it. And walk off. Drop the mic and walk off because there's nothing you else could say. He spoke for 11 minutes, and it was embarrassing. And I think at this point,
and yet you still want to keep him.
No, again, I don't have a problem because I think that you haven't given him a product to go out there and actually coach properly. I haven't seen anything where I would say he's been ridiculous coaching, so I can't knock his coaching ability because I haven't seen enough yet. I don't want to keep turning around every 2 years. If you tell me tomorrow Jim Harbaugh wants to come here, sign him tomorrow. I'm okay with it. I don't want some other, non-proven coach.
Everything you're saying, you say that, okay, you'll take the big name, but you won't take this. But yet you'll keep this guy that continuously loses because you don't want to change coaches every couple of years.
I don't.
But if Harbaugh comes around, I got to take him.
I want a proven coach, Jeff. Again, I don't want to bring in the next.
What has Harbaugh done?
He went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He went to the Super Bowl. He turned Alex Smith's career around. He made Colin Kaepernick into a semi-useful quarterback. Went to a Super Bowl with him. I'm not telling you he's the greatest coach. He went to Michigan. He went this year, Michigan. He went to the SEC championship game. He beat Ohio State. I'm not telling you he's my favorite coach. I'm just saying this. I don't want the next Joe Judge to come in and have to hope he's a good coach. If he told me, listen, there's rumors that Sean Payton might be available. I hate Sean Payton. But if you told me we're not bringing Joe Judge back because I'm going to sign Sean Payton, I'll be happy because then I got a proven guy who's done something. I just don't want to go, let's get rid of Joe Judge because he hasn't done it and bring in the next guy who hasn't done it yet and hope that guy.
You're willing to take Sean Payton, who hasn't been to a Super Bowl in 10 years.
Yes. I want a proven commodity. It doesn't have to be, again, I'd be happy if they kept him, if the GM wants to keep him now. As far as I'm concerned, if the GM comes in and says he's the right guy, he just needs the right players, I'm okay with it. If he comes in and says Joe Judge has got to go, that's fine too. I'll have to live with it. But what I don't want is for him to go get the next Joe Judge from some team who's never been a head coach, we have no idea whether he can actually be a head coach or not, and then hope for the best 2 years from now that we're not having the same conversation. So, but if you tell me that a proven coach, a Harbaugh, a Sean Payton, somebody who has a track record and we know can coach, that's all I'm saying is I don't need a big name. I just want a guy who I know can coach a football team and make it competitive That's all you're asking for. And if you want to make that move, I'm in. You got my attention. If the GM comes in now and says that, I'm in with it too. But I think what Joe Judge has done the last 2 weeks with his press conferences and the way the team has played, I think the only thing that's keeping him around is the fact that the team is still playing hard for him. It's not playing well. It's still playing hard. It hasn't quit. And I think the fact that Mara does not want to fire the guy if he doesn't have to. But I think at this point, with again, like I said, the conferences, the press conferences, and the games, I think it's opened the door for him to be fired. It has. So
I really think that they need to unload him, because if they get a new general manager and they keep the coach because they're like, okay, let's give him another year with this, that, and the other thing. Yeah, I don't see him getting a second or third year with another general manager.
I think he has to. If you're going to let
4 years with the same results, we got to go a different direction at this point in time.
But then do it now. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to do that,
it should have been done. Should be done.
But again, I'm saying if the new GM comes in and says, "This is my guy. I want this guy," then he has to be tied. You can't allow the new GM to say, "This is my guy," and then after a year go, "Okay, he's not my guy." If he's the new GM's guy, he's sticking.
After what he's done for his 2-3 years there, whatever it is, if a new general manager comes in and says, "This is my guy, this is who I want," then already that to me is a red flag, because why would you want to inherit somebody that's not yours, a quarterback that's not yours? You're clearly a puppet government at this point in time.
I know that's good, Jeff, and that will absolutely be the storyline for all summer and into the games. Yes, you will. Everybody will question the fact that yes,
you know that within the first 12 weeks of the year.
Well,
because right now, once the season ends and they start their general manager search, you go into March when free agency starts. Depending on who this guy goes after, as their new general manager is for free agents, and what he does with the players that he has, and that'll tell a lot right now. And then you'll know before the draft if this team is going to be worth watching, because you're going to be like, what the fuck did they do?
Well, I would tell you, he's got to hire a GM within the first few weeks of the end of the season. I mean, unless there's somebody on one of the playoff teams that you can't hire, you got to hire somebody right away, and then you got to start your coaching search right away. Because yes, the minute free agency starts after the Super Bowl and before the draft, you can't wait until all the season's over and everybody takes jobs. And to me,
well, what I mean is that when you get your general manager, you're going to know right off the bat how he is like, okay, this guy wants nothing to do with this guy. He's just doing this. Yeah. So he got the job. You'll know that. And then when he goes out and he starts drafting, when he goes after free agents.
Sure, absolutely.
And see some of the people that he goes after, be like, why are you signing a 35-year-old left tackle that could play for maybe a year or two? Maybe.
The problem is he's going to have whoever comes in. First off, you need to find out what the new salary cap is going to be. So supposedly it's going up by $10 or $20 million. So that'll help a little bit. But you're saddled with a lot of bad contracts and a lot of money, and you don't have a lot of cap space. So they're going to have to get creative. Maybe a trade. Maybe you got to cut a couple guys and take some dead money. But this team is going to have a hard time next year. And again, I don't want Russell Wilson as my quarterback. I do not want Russell Wilson to come into New York. You're going to have to give up a lot of draft picks. And if you do that, you got nothing to work with. And I do not want to give it up. I don't want Baker Mayfield. He's not a good quarterback.
I don't think you're going to get Russell Wilson. I think he'd be insane to come to the Giants.
It's one of the 3 teams on his list.
Well, you're just saying that. Well, not you're just saying, but he's just saying that too.
You can name a lot of teams.
What's that?
If you're Russell Wilson, you can name a lot of teams other than the Giants that you want to go to.
You could name a lot of teams, but it's a big market team. Seattle's not a big market city compared to New York.
No, but there's a lot of other, you could say, you go to Houston. I mean, Houston needs a quarterback. You could put Miami on that list. There's a bunch of teams in big markets that, Vegas. There's 3 teams off the top of my head. San Francisco's a 4th team. It depends what happens to Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay.
San Francisco's got a quarterback. Green Bay is not a big market team.
No, but as far as football goes, it's and don't forget, he played his college football in Wisconsin.
Okay.
So I mean, I'm just saying is
playing college football in Wisconsin is a lot different than playing.
I agree with you. I'm just saying is he's got a background there. All I'm saying is if you're Russell Wilson and you don't want to be named with the Giants, there's a lot of other teams you could throw. Again, I give you 3 teams off the top of my head: Houston, Miami, and Vegas, all big markets, especially Vegas, where you could throw your hat in the ring and say, if I'm going to get traded, it's going to be to one of those teams. So again, I want to end it with this. I don't want Russell Wilson. I don't think he's got a lot left on the tires. I don't think he's as good as people think, and I certainly don't want to give up 3 number 1 draft picks to get him. Okay, I think at that point you can't fix this team fast enough to help him. So, find another way, draft a guy. I don't want Russell Wilson. I certainly don't want Baker Mayfield. A guy who's had tremendous talent around him and can't win, and seems to not get along with his teammates. So that's a guy I don't want. So, listen, the end of the season's here, Jeff. We probably don't have time tonight to do the disappointments and the surprises. So we'll hold that till next week, like you thought might be a better way to do it. Wait till the end of the season. So we'll hold that. But I do want to go through this weekend's games and a little bit of the playoff picture with you. You still hanging in there?
Yeah.
Okay. So this weekend, so right now, so far, Jeff, in the AFC, you got the Bengals have clinched, the Chiefs have clinched, the Titans have clinched. All the divisions are clinched. And the Patriots have one of the wild cards. So you have 2 wild cards available for this week. There's some seeding issues, and you still have people like the Colts are in the hunt. Let's see who else is in the hunt. The Ravens, the Raiders, Chargers, and Steelers.
I'd like to see the Chargers get it and the Colts.
Well, it comes down to I know that one of the other games, the winner of the Raiders-Chargers games is getting in. Okay, so one of those 2 teams is going to be in the playoffs. The Chiefs are, I think the Chargers are going to Vegas to play this game. Vegas is playing good football. And I got to tell you that the Chargers are up in the air. I tell you what, I'm going to pick them, on Sunday. I think the Raiders have a chance to win this game. And you may be hearing a lot of crowing from the half man.
Well, the only good thing about that is that means that'll definitely the outfits are in.
That's true. If they do get into the playoffs, we can almost guarantee to have them on the show next week because they'll be hooting and hollering that they made it. We'll have to make it where he has to come on fully dressed, though. So,
oh yeah, listen. From now on, if they make the playoffs or they get into the playoffs, the only way he can come on is in full outfit.
All right, I'm going to say this. I like the tracksuit idea, but I prefer the helmet with the Raider jersey and sweatpants. I think, and he's got to start off with he's got to kick it off with some sort of football stance, whether it's a 2-point, 3-point, or the Heisman pose. Everyone, he's got to start off with that, but he's got to wear the jersey with the helmet.
Well, listen, he could how about he comes on with the helmet and the tracksuit, but he ends the segment with the jersey on. Okay, because what we could do is we could talk to him and everything and get him going with wearing the tracksuit. And then you'll be like, all right, Dom, now to the second half of the segment here. Please put the jersey on. Okay, you ready? Heisman. And let him do the Heisman. Okay, 3-point stance. 4-point stance.
That's true. We could get it. We could give him the old, all right, Dom, do this now, do that now. We could do that.
How would you like to see him? You ready for this one?
Go ahead.
You may puke. This will be great.
Don't make me puke, please.
Okay. Imagine him totally buck-ass naked.
All right, that you lose me.
Doing the Ray guy.
With the helmet on?
Of course, with the helmet on.
Okay. Only if he does it with the helmet on.
With the helmet of his little wanger, like coming out past his leg a little bit. Just a little.
Just a little? Okay.
Just a little.
All right. So this weekend, Jeff, we got some big games. Okay, so the biggest one of all, obviously, is Chargers Raiders. They play each other. Chargers right now are in the playoffs. Raiders are on the bubble, but whoever wins this game gets in the playoffs. Then you got the Colts. So there's 2 out of those 3 teams. Now I don't know why the Raiders and the Chargers. I guess because the Ravens. It's a weird. We're sort of turbulent. This. The Raiders get in if they win or they tie and Indianapolis loss, or Indianapolis loss and a Pittsburgh loss or tie. So I guess there's 2 ways. The Raiders could get in there still if Indianapolis loses, Pittsburgh loses, or ties. So there's still a lot of good games. and a lot of ways to get in. There's 2 spots for about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams for 2 spots.
But I think some of those teams you could discount. I don't think Baltimore is a serious contender this year.
Yeah, unfortunately, I hate Baltimore. I think you're going to wind up seeing the Colts, and then either the Raiders or the Chargers will be the 2 teams.
The Raiders are a serious team either.
Jeff, they've managed to stay alive, and they're hanging in there with all the adversity they have. The Raiders are 9-7 with a chance to go 10-7 and get in the playoffs. I mean, you got to give them a little bit of applause for that.
Yeah, you got to give them a little bit, without a doubt. But I still just don't think that they, are going to do it.
I got you. I'm with you. In the NFC, Jeff, the Packers are in, and they are the home team with the bye through the playoffs. You got the Rams are in, the Buccaneers are in, and the Cowboys, all division winners. Arizona, who hasn't been playing great, although played a really good game this weekend, beating the Cowboys. And the Eagles, somehow the Eagles, Jeff, have made it in. I never would have guessed. The Eagles are a playoff team, and it comes down to right now the 49ers or the Saints getting into the playoffs.
Saints kind of picked up a little steam. They've been playing pretty good.
Yeah.
But I just don't see them being much of a threat at this point in time. I really don't.
Give Sean Payton credit. Think about it. He's had Jameis Winston, lost him, Trevor Siemian, Taysom Hill. Some other guy played Ian Book.
Yeah, like a third round pick, 4th round pick.
Yeah, and an 8-8 season and a chance to go to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they win and Frisco loses, they're in the playoffs. So it's that simple. So they got to hope. Frisco's playing the Rams, so the Rams have nothing to play for, so they're probably not going to put a team out there. The Saints get the Falcons. I can see both teams winning, and if that's the case, 49ers get the last playoff spot. So, Jeff, for this weekend in the big games that I could see, let's see. Chiefs Broncos, not a big game, Jeff, right?
Well, it is. For the Chiefs, I would like to see the Chiefs win, but for the Chiefs, it means something. I think they could catch the number 1 seed. If they win,
let's see. Hold on a second. Let's see if that's the case. I think you might be right. Chiefs can clinch number 1 seed with a KC win and a Tennessee loss. So that's a big game. You're absolutely right. That's a big game, division rival. So the Broncos are going to want to spoil that. So
of course,
that's a pretty good game. That's a Saturday afternoon game, Jeff. A couple of games on Saturday this week.
Yeah, no Monday night game.
Yep, no Monday, no Thursday. Cowboys Eagles, pretty much a meaningless game for both teams. So I don't know how much the starters go, but I don't know if it's a game anybody's going to be watching other than Eagles and Cowboy fans.
Yeah, I hear that, man.
Giants and the Skins are one of the games. I don't see anybody running to watch that game other than to see if Ron Rivera runs up the score. Ron Rivera is probably going to run up the score on the Giants this week after what Joe Judge said about the Skins this weekend. So,
well, he's going to attempt
to run up the score against the Giants. Bills, Jets. For some reason, the Jets are underdog 16.5 points in this game. I don't see it. I'm betting the Jets this week. I can't imagine them getting blown out.
Not by 6. I gotta agree with you. I don't think they're gonna win, but I don't think they're gonna get fucking
agreed. Yeah, I build the games. I think the game's meaningless for the Bills. Let me just double check that. Buffalo can clinch. Let's see. Buffalo clinch AFC East division title. So I haven't clinched the division title yet. So the game means something to Buffalo. Buffalo win or New England loss. So I didn't realize that. So Buffalo has something to play for here. So I don't know, but I still don't think the Jets are getting blown out in this game in Buffalo. The Browns and the Bengals, both starting quarterbacks are out. I had a real problem with the Cincinnati end of the game. They've managed to win the division, so good for them. But both quarterbacks are sitting. I think this is a game, Jeff, you avoid at all costs.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Packers and the Lions, Jeff. Again, a meaningless game for both teams. I'd be shocked if Aaron Rodgers played more than a quarter.
I was just going to say, how do you even start Aaron Rodgers with this one?
Yeah, I would think. The only problem I would say though is if he doesn't play this week, he would be 3 weeks off, before he plays football. So I can see them putting him out there for a quarter to let him get a few snaps. I don't know. He's Aaron Rodgers. Do you really need to play him in a game like this? I think he'd be ready either way.
Yeah, I would be. Listen, the way that these guys get hurt, some of them, your whole season could go down the tubes.
Yeah.
Somebody steps on his ankle or something.
Yeah.
Not happening in the playoffs.
Nope, I agree. Another meaningless game, Vikings and the Bears. I can only hope the Vikings win, but Kirk Cousins out, final game of the season, COVID list against the Bears, who I believe Justin Fields is going to be starting this final game of the season. Pretty much a meaningless game.
Well, I'll tell you the truth, man. It would be nice to see the Bears win one for Walter.
Son of a bitch. Colts and Jaguars. It's a meaningful game for the Colts. The Colts need to win this game or tie to get in the playoffs. So I would say they're favored by 15.5. So that's a pretty good game. Ravens and the Steelers. I believe there's some playoff implications there. If the Ravens can clinch a playoff berth with a Baltimore win and a Chargers loss, plus an Indianapolis loss and a Miami loss or tie. I don't know why Miami's fixing in this because they're out of it, but they need a lot of help to get in the playoffs, including a win. And the Steelers, Pittsburgh gets in with a win, plus an Indy loss, plus a Vegas. Wow. And as long as the Vegas Charger game does not end in a tie.
Yeah, some of them like wild.
Yeah.
You know, like this team could get in if these 4 teams lose and this team in the NFC gets a tie. Be like, wait, but we're talking about an AFC team. It's pretty sick, some of them.
Yeah, what's your thoughts, Jeff? I mean, we've seen it go both ways in the past. I mean, a lot of these teams don't have a lot to play for. Like the Buccaneers, this game doesn't mean a lot to the Bucs. Let me see if it means anything to them. Nope, they're set. Do you play a Tom Brady? Your team hasn't been playing really well. Do you play Brady? Do you give him the week off? I mean, if you're coach Jeff and your team got a veteran team, you haven't been playing exceptionally well, do you take the week off or do you go out there and try to hone your skills for the following week?
I'd give these guys a week off because especially the older players, he gets hurt and be like, that's it, it's over. It's over. All we're doing is going home a week later than we could have been going home. This here way, at least if you go out there and you rest for this week and then you go and next week you're full speed, it's another story. You're trying to win a championship. Mm-hmm. You're not going to win a championship in week 18. It's not happening.
Nope, I got you. So, yeah, it should be interesting. So there's some meaningful games this week. We'll have some fun with it. Then next Thursday, Jeff and I'll break down the biggest surprises and disappointments for the season. We'll obviously gear you up for the big first couple weeks. Is going to be a lot of great football games, Saturdays and Sundays, a lot of games to be played. So I'm looking forward to that. Jeff, there's I didn't know they did to do this regularly, but there's a small chance that the Super Bowl, because of LA restrictions, they've already postponed the Grammys. A couple other sporting events are having problems out there that, depending on how COVID goes, they may have to move the Super Bowl out of SoFi Stadium, which is the Chargers Rams Stadium, and play it somewhere else. I mean, I would say that's never happened before, to my knowledge.
No, it's never happened before, but you know what? You're going to see just how much power the NFL wields at that point in time. And if they get to have the Super Bowl over the Grammys and wherever, then you'll know that, that whatever the NFL, they have a lot to say in society.
Yeah, I would say, listen, the Grammys are an indoor event. I mean, not that I'm putting any stock in this, but, the NFL's outdoors. I would think you'd have you sold all these tickets to people who are planning to fly into LA. Now, all of a sudden, you're going to tell them the game's in Dallas or somewhere else. You could tentatively have a half-empty stadium with the tickets sold and people not taking them. I mean, that depending on where the game is, you have hotel issues.
I don't think they're going to allow that to happen.
I agree. I think they're going to force. What I read today or heard today was that the whoever's in charge of those decisions in Los Angeles has said we're playing the Super Bowl here. So I would think, short of a catastrophe or the pandemic's blowing up wild out there, I think this game will be in LA. But I just thought it was interesting that they were contemplating alternate sites. First time I'd ever heard that before. I think the only time I heard that different was a few years back. They had it in Dallas. They had an ice storm.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, I think that was the only time I had ever heard that there was a talk of canceling the game and playing it somewhere else. So that's That's interesting to me. A couple more things, Jeff, before we close it up. I told you about the Redskins. A revised edition of the Beavis and Butthead show. I don't know if you followed that.
No, I have not.
Yes, and let's see. I want to bring up. I actually have it somewhere. I think what they're saying, the new characters will be kind of older versions of themselves. You want to see what they look like?
Sure.
All right, let me see if I can bring that up for you. Hold on. Let's bring that up. I think this would be Beavis. It's pretty funny. Hold on a second. Share the screen and share it.
Oh my God!
Yeah, so
that's Butthead. That's actually
Butthead. Sorry, that's Butthead. Yes. Now let me show you Beavis. Let's see. Stop the share. Where is it?
90 seconds.
Is Butthead, and we'll share the screen. And here it comes, Jeff. This would be your boy Butthead.
Well, he looks the same,
just a tad older. And I think there was a couple of episodes where they had older versions of them back in the day. I would tell you, I was a pretty religious watcher of the Beavis and Butthead show back in the day.
Yeah, I've seen him. I used to watch it, of course.
Seconds.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah. Hey, Shauna, nice to see you. Unfortunately, Mark was on and off about an hour ago. But thank you for tuning in, and you can catch the replay on our Facebook page or YouTube page, and you can catch Mark. He was all dialed up in a suit and tie. So thanks for popping in, and come back every week. We sit here, we do a little bit of sports and music every week, so we're happy to have you. But certainly support Mark and his new American Premium Vodka. Man was sharp, Jeff. He had the suit and tie and everything working.
Yeah, yes, he did.
Yeah, he was good. Yeah, sorry, I know. I see you're in Cali time. Where are you in California? Maybe she's in Israel and we don't know it.
I don't know. She says Cali time, so I think that
10 seconds.
speaks for itself.
You think it speaks for itself?
I think so.
You never know. Maybe she was, she didn't want to tell everybody she was from there,
From the motherland.
From the motherland, maybe she's part of the Sacramento. Yeah, my brother's out in Van Nuys. My brother and his family live in Van Nuys. So
how's he doing? I haven't spoken to him.
He's good. I spoke to him. Originally from Texas, a place that's on my bucket list. You're not a Dallas Cowboy fan, Shauna, are you? By any chance?
God, I hope she is.
We're Giant fans here on the show.
Originally Texas. We can only hope that she's a Giant fan. Texas
49er. Okay.
That's all right.
All right.
You hate that equally too, don't you?
I hate the 49ers equally as much as I hate the Cowboys. You gotta hate the Cowboys, man, fan. But going back to the Joe Montana days and Dwight Clark days when I was actually a Cowboy fan on the catch and all that. So it's growing up, but that's a whole lifetime ago. But Shauna, thank you. I appreciate it. Come on back. We're here every Thursday, 7 to 9:30. And of course, you can check out Mark's interview. Go to our Facebook page, Hard Rockin' Sports. You can see him in all his glory, American Premium Vodka, suit and tie, great guy. Or our YouTube page, and all our shows are there. You can catch them all. Thank you. Come back, Shauna.
On YouTube?
Huh?
Back on YouTube?
Happy New Year. Same to you. Yes, we're back. We were banned for a couple of weeks, but we're back on YouTube. So thank you. I'm sure we'll piss somebody off at some point, and we'll get thrown off YouTube again.
Well, as long as it isn't our friends in near the Middle East there.
No, does not affect our friends in the Middle East, Jeff. So don't worry about that. And of course, we're back next week. Ross the Boss, that's right. Ross the Boss Friedman joins Jeff and I. Got a new tour coming up this year. Hopefully, the pandemic will allow it. So good for Ross. He'll join us. We'll talk some Giants. We'll break down the end of the season. We'll do all that fun stuff next Thursday night, and we're looking forward to doing this again on Sunday. Super Bowl's around the corner, Jeff. Super Bowl's around the corner.
Yeah, it'll be here before you know it, man.
Yeah,
once that first week of playoff games, once you get past the wild card weekend, it's narrows down pretty quick.
Yeah, you got the wild card weekend, you got division weekend.
Is this the first year that a wild card game is going to be played on Monday?
You know what? I don't know the schedule, but I think you might be right. I think you might have that standalone game on a Monday night. Yeah, I think you might be right.
Which I do not like.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not sure, but I don't know how you would get all those games in. I mean, you're talking about a lot of games in 2 days. You'd have to play like a 12 o'clock game, a 4:30 game, and a 7:30 at night game. I think to get all the wild card games in, without the Monday, unless you're gonna play because that's Saturday and Sunday. Don't forget.
Yeah.
You got how many teams? You're gonna have 14 teams, 2 get a bye. So there's 12 teams. There's 6 games to play in 2 days.
I'd like to see them do a Friday night game. I really would.
I don't disagree with that. You know what, Jeff? I'm with you on that. I do like the idea of a Friday night football game. I do better than Monday night, to be honest, because then you stay up late Friday night, you watch the game, you're off on Saturday for the most part. I would agree with that. I would prefer, or if you're going to do the game, you have to start at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock on the East Coast. You can't have an 8 o'clock playoff game starting on the East Coast.
No, that ain't gonna happen.
I don't know the time frame, but you have to.
They started at 5 o'clock here. It's gonna be 2 o'clock over there, and they're gonna say, "Well, how's everybody gonna get to see it over there?"
I agree with you, but let's see real fast before we end the show. I'm just curious if they have that. I don't know. That's not here. It's not here. Let's see if I get the schedule real fast. Does it have playoff schedule yet? Week 18. No, playoff schedule is not up yet. So I'll have to keep an eye out for that. See if I can find that soon, Jeff. But all right, listen, let's end the show. I know you got to go to work. You get a chance to wash up and maybe grab a quick nap for your 3-minute drive to work.
This was a bad idea. I can feel it already.
I told you could have skipped the show tonight.
Oh, not the show. Just saying,
saying yes to work.
Yeah, I should.
Wait, so now what's the thing? You have to work just overnight and you're home tomorrow during the day, or you got to do a double?
No, I don't know. We got to see.
But depends on the snow.
Yeah.
Oof. It's not supposed to be too bad. I keep what I mean. You guys got to get better service. What are you hearing for snow totals?
They don't know.
All right, I hear 1 to 3 is what we're getting.
Yeah, but they get panicky about that 1 to 3. That could be the worst 1 to 3 in the last 115 years in the tri-state area.
Well, the problem I think is that it's starting. It's not supposed to start till 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and it's supposed to be over by 8 o'clock, which means a lot of snow, 3 inches in that amount of time. So you're right. So who knows? We're panicking.
I'm worried about it.
Well, at least you know how far to drive. I got to drive 48 miles tomorrow morning. So
that sucks.
Yes, it certainly does. But
that sucks. I only hope, I don't because my wife has to go to work too. But I'm only hoping that there's some snow so I can play.
I got you. Yes, I got you. All right, so guys, we'll end it right here. I want to thank Mark Scott and everybody who popped in with him for coming on. And please support Mark's new venture, American Premium Vodka, which will be out on March 15th. And stay tuned for the tour. Mark's going to be traveling around the country doing some, it's got to be the toughest job in the world, going to different American Legion posts and drinking lots of vodka. I tell you, Jeff, I'd sign up for that tomorrow.
Oh,
that's my job.
I'm glad you would, man. That's one that I'll pass on that one.
Well, I'm sure
that much vodka could be rough.
It could be. I'm not a big vodka drinker, but I will be now. I will be buying some American Premium Vodka. And Mark did promise Jeff a couple of bottles, so that's not too bad. Getting a free bottle.
I'll take the freebie. Thank you.
There you go. So thanks to Mark. He's a great guy. Please support his business endeavor. And, of course, the fact that the good part of money is going to go to help the veteran community is always a great thing. Thanks to all you guys who popped in and said hello to us. We really do appreciate it. Thanks to our friends in Israel for making us number one there. 8% of our audience is now in Israel. That's a big – for some reason, that seems to be the big number for Jeff. Not Japan, not Canada. He just fixates on Israel.
We're international stars right now. We don't even know it.
It's the truth. It's somewhere in Israel. There's a bunch of guys sitting in a place with a lot of smoke and cheesy mustaches, and they're listening to the Hard Rock and Sports Show with Jeff and Tom.
I don't know.
That's the picture I got. Here's the picture I got. So, hey, I'll give you the last word, Jeff. You got anything you want to end with?
No. I just hope that the next 36 hours goes pretty quick.
Well, we won't be hearing much from Jeff the next few hours, so we'll give him a break.
We may be hearing more than ever before, just so that I stay awake.
That's true. We may be getting bombarded with stuff, but if we do, that'll be fine too. Everybody, please drive safe if you're driving in the area tomorrow. Please be safe here on the East Coast. It's supposed to be a heavy storm, but who knows? But please be safe. Sunday morning, Sunday Audible. We'll be back here. So make sure you catch us on Sunday morning, 9 a.m. for all of our sports football talk, breaking down Sunday's games. And, of course, come on back next Thursday night. Ross the Boss Friedman joins Jeff and I here in the Hard Rock Sports Show. So, again, Happy New Year, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And for Jeff Towinski, myself, and everybody here at Hard Rock Sports, have a great night, great weekend, great week. We'll see you next Thursday night here on the Hard Rock Sports Show. Hefe, peace, be safe, my man.
Later, man.
See you.
Bye.